Hi, I'm Christella from Fayi, and in case you don't know, Fayi is Greek for food. So I'm here again to show you another way that you can use our chili sauce recipe. So this is a free recipe on the blog, and I've got a live video on how to make it, so there's no excuses on making it. Now I just want to show you what things you can do with it. So this is just another awesome recipe for you to use up some of that chili sauce that you've used. That you've made. So I am making today an Osso Bucco recipe, and I get a lot of people say that they never cook with Osso Bucco because they don't know what to do with it. And I love this recipe because it adds lots of different flavors, and adding that chili sauce just adds a different profile. So I hope you'll give it a go. I'm just going to start cooking and showing you what I'm doing. So I've got some of the chopped up ingredients already. So I've just got a whole onion just cut in half. I've got a huge garlic clove. This is like a quarter of my garlic clove, so pretty big garlic cloves. I think it calls for 2 garlic cloves. The recipe is a free recipe on the blog, so you can check it out on there. I've cut up my carrot. I'm just showing you individually how I cut things up, so that then I'll further cut this up in the Thermomix. But it really helps you to see the before, because if you cut them up too big, then they're going to be not chopped up enough in your Thermomix. So then I add some carrot as well. I've got some celeries. I add the leaves and things as well. You don't have to, but it's up to you. I just put 1 whole stalk of the celery, and I'm going to use just a little bit of eggplant today because I didn't have any zucchinis, and eggplant was it today. That's what I had in my fridge, and that's what I'm going to use up. Eggplant or zucchini would be fine to use. I'd cut it up pretty much the same. So let me give you the quantities just in case I didn't say them. So a whole onion, it's about 150 grams, 2 garlic cloves. I had one really big one, but you can add more or less depending on what you like. 100 grams of carrots, celery. I just used 1 whole stalk. And I usually use a zucchini, but today I just used 1 little eggplant. So I'm just put all that in the bowl just as it was, as I showed you all the different little pieces, and then I'm just going to chop that up for 15 seconds on speed 4, okay? Then just check it and make sure that it's chopped quite finely, just because you won't chop it again and it won't disintegrate too much, so I'm pretty happy with that. You could chop it more if you've got young children who might not like little bits and pieces, but you don't want it to turn to mush either, so I don't mind a little bit of the texture in it, but it's really up to you whether you want any texture in your recipe. So if you've just online, I'm making, it's called Kreas Kokkinisto. So what we're actually doing is using Osso Bucco, sealing the meat and then adding like red sauces, spicy red sauces to it to create the color. So Kreas is meat in Greek, and Kokkinisto is when you're adding all the different colors, the red sauces to it. Wow, that onion's killing my eyes. Can you see me watering? I'm not crying, it's just the onions. Now I'm gonna add some olive oil. You could use butter if you want, or ghee. Change it up as always to your requirements. I'm adding 50 grams of olive oil. You can even use like coconut oil or whatever you like to use. Now I'm just going to cook that, saute that down for 5 minutes. And I've got it for 100 degrees and reversed slower speed. So as always, slower speed is just spoon speed, so just up 1 notch on Thermomix. And that's just going to start softening all those vegetables up, really starting to creating all those flavors together. I actually think it's a really important step in this recipe. Sometimes I'll skip through different recipes for different steps, but this one I find it's really important, otherwise your veggies will turn out too hard. Otherwise, like I said, chop them a bit finer, and you could maybe just do it a couple of minutes and skimp through this quite quickly. But I find because I left them quite chunky, it really needs the 5 minutes to really soften them and break them down a little bit. Hi Mary, yeah, there's a heap of veggies in this. So good for me hiding it with my kids. My kids will eat so much of this because the sauce has so much flavor. And it's just a really quick and easy recipe. So after this sautés, it's literally, I'm going to throw in everything else and then walk away for 30 minutes and it will be ready. It is so easy and quick and so much nutritional value because of all those veggies and things. So it's definitely one of my go-to recipes. I always tell my butcher what I do with his Osso Bucco, because he has like the nicest Osso Bucco. Probably a point I should make is your Osso Bucco recipe is only going to be as good as the one that you buy, because if you're not buying high quality meats that are, you know, if the meat's not being raised properly or looked after, if the animals haven't been, the meat's tough and it's not going to give you the flavor that, you know, that I'm trying to explain to you here. So really highly recommend buying a high quality Osso Bucco cut of meat, because if you're just buying a really cheap one, it's going to be tough. You're probably going to have to cook it like 4 times longer, and it's not going to be as nice as this recipe. But if you like red meat, this is an awesome recipe to get a different cut. Now, at the beginning of this recipe, I recommend browning the meat. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If I am during the week and I've got my kids around, I don't actually brown the meat. I'll just throw it straight into the Thermomix. But if you have the time, like today I'm a little bit more chillaxed because I haven't got the kids on me. I did brown the meat just because I wanted to show you. Honestly, it's just a little extra flavor. Apart from that, it's just as soft, it's just as flavorful, so don't stress if you don't want to do that step. So I know some people hate browning the meat and they just won't do the recipe because of that. Skip the step and just do it anyway. Seriously, it still turns out perfectly. And yeah, you just get so much flavor from inside of that Osso Bucco bone. It's just so good. I'm very excited for you to try this recipe. So this has got a couple more minutes. And then I'm going to throw in everything else. So let me tell you what I'm going to add. I have got some teaspoon of cinnamon. I have got my tomato paste. I've got a tablespoon of tomato paste. You can make your own or you can use store-bought. Either way, still beautiful. I've got a teaspoon of paprika. And then I'll add a tablespoon of our homemade chili sauce. Now this one, make your own, please. It's just so much more flavor. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's a free recipe on the blog, so please try it. And then I'm going to add 30 grams of honey. Again, if you want to skip the sweetener or you want to use a different sweetener, all the sweetener does in this recipe is offsets the heat in the chili sauce, because it is a hot chili sauce, and it really just, I don't know, brings all the flavors together and it just creates it a little bit different. But obviously, the different types of honey will give you different flavors throughout your Osso Bucco, so keep that in mind as well when you are choosing your honey. Because if you get an overpowering honey, it will just overpower the dish. Just get one that's very, very light. Or leave it out altogether if you don't mind a bit of a hot sauce. And then I'm going to add a tin of diced tomatoes and a little bit of water, and my bowl will be maxed out. So if you've got a smaller bowl than the 2.2 litres, maybe reduce the amount of meat that you have, because I'm adding over 1 kilo of meat. Especially today, I think I've got over 1 kilo, and I'm adding the whole pieces of Osso Bucco. I'm not even chopping them up. So you could even chop them up if you wanted to. And honestly, it would work with other meats as well, even if you wanted to use diced meats as well. But I just love the flavor of the Osso Bucco. It's really hard to explain until you've really tried it. I will jump back on after the 30 minutes once it's cooked to show you the end flavors, and I'll show you how I serve it and give you a couple of ideas of different ways you could serve it. But honestly, it's something you're gonna have to try and let me know what you think, okay? So this one's just about finished. Let's just keep going with it. You can see that beautiful steam coming out of that. Now, let's repeat what I just said. We're going to put the Osso Bucco in. So like I said, I'm putting it in whole. I have browned it this time. I don't usually. Let's be real. Like, you know, my mum got 2 kids and I don't have time usually to do those things. So when it's an actual weeknight meal for my family, will be real with you, I just shovel it all in. Okay, so my bowl will be maxed out. So like I said, if your bowl is smaller, please reduce the amount of meat or whatever that you're having. Then I've got all these sauces and the honey, the paprika, the cinnamon, the tomato paste. Like I said, the recipe is a free recipe on the blog. I'll add you a link so that you can find the recipe and give it a try. And then I'm going to add my chili sauce. Now, I'm only going to add a tablespoon because the kids were eating this one, and it is quite a hot chili sauce. If it was for my husband, I'd add like 2 or 3 because he likes it hot. But it depends on you and who's eating it and what you like. Just change it to however you like it. I think I've got cherry tomatoes today, but I usually use diced cherry tomatoes because I know I'm going to get a question from that because everyone always watches quite closely what I do. It works either way, okay? They'll soften and mushy in a little bit, so they'll be right. And then I'm just going to add 200 grams of water as well because it needs that little bit of liquid. Beautiful. So I'm going to make sure I've added everything: tomato paste, cinnamon, paprika, hot chili sauce, honey, diced tomatoes, water. Beautiful. That's it, guys. How easy is it? Put your lid on, turn it on for 30 minutes, go and have a cup of coffee or watch a movie or something because your dinner's ready. Seriously, that's it. Look, you could cook something to go on the side to serve it with, but that's it. It is such an easy recipe. So 30 minutes, Varoma. We say steaming temperature, so it's Varoma is steaming temperature. Reverse, lower speed, which is slower speed, and then take your MC off. And I actually sometimes put the basket on top instead, so I'm just going to quickly grab it like this. Ta-da! See it there? Beautiful. That's it, guys. I hope you like it. I hope you'll try it. And I will jump back on when it's finished cooking so you can see the end result. And I'll show you how I serve it up and hopefully you'll give it a try. So I am back and this Osso Bucco that's been cooking for a little bit of time now. So I cooked it for about 30 minutes and my pieces were so big that I did end up cooking it a little bit more. So just make sure that your meat is really soft. Otherwise just add a little bit more cooking time. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to serve it up on some rice today. That's how my husband enjoys eating it. But you could serve it up on some like mashed potato or some cauliflower rice, or with just some more veggies on the side, however you enjoy it. Now, if you do cook it a little bit more, you might have to add a bit more water. If you don't mind the thick sauce, then it's fine. I didn't add any more water just because it's going to be a bit more of a thicker sauce. But you can see how beautiful it turns out. And once I get all the pieces out, put these two for my husband. He will eat the big pieces. And then I just add the rest of the sauce on top because that's got like so much of the flavor. And you can add some more of the red sauce on top, but that's pretty much it, guys. A beautiful red sauce. This is the Osso Bucco free recipe on the blog, so give it a go. Let me know what you think. I can't wait to hear from you. Thanks, guys. See you later. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed my video. And if you want to see more free videos like this, please make sure you share this video with your friends. Thanks.